Good morning, teacher. We are group number 5 and we discuss part 1 through 7 of the FCE reading comprehension. We will also briefly talk about what reading strategies to use while taking the exam. Part 1 of the FCE reading comprehension is multiple choice closed questions. Here you will be given a short text with 8 blanks. You will have to fill in. For each blank, there are 4 multiple choice A through D. You have to select the correct one. Tips and strategy. An example while taking the exam is basically eliminate the wrong one. If you see that the one doesn't select, then just eliminate it. Now, while completing the section, make sure that you read the title and the text quickly so you can have an idea of what the text will be about. Also, notice the answer is asking for phrasal verbs, idioms, or collocation. You will also see an answer that makes no sense, then eliminate it, just like I said as an example. It's also important that you read the sentence and choose the correct one. Finally, if you are left with no choice, then just make a logical reading strategy and inference and make a guess. Part 2 of the FCE, next slide, please. Part 2 of the FCE reading comprehension is answering the open closed question. This part of the exam is the same as part 1. Here, the only difference that instead of being a longer text is a short text. Here, you won't be given multiple choice question. Here, you have to use critical thinking and guess. An example here would be, well, if you have an answer that you don't know what it is, then just make an inference and guess. Tips and strategy of the example is keep in mind that the missing gap is likely to be an article, preposition, or proper noun. Also, do not choose any nouns because sometimes nouns are not the answer. Also, remember that the answer will always be a single word. The answer that you use will not be repeated twice. Also, if you don't know, just move on to the next. Thank you, teacher. Next slide.
Okay, in part 3, we have how to answer word formation questions. In this part, you have a STEM word which you need to change to fill the gap. For example, you might see the word long as your STEM word. You might need to change the word to the length or longest depending on the question. Next, please. For example, unfortunately, these farmers are to sell their produce. Here the STEM word is like. Look at the grammatical structure of this sentence. The gap is between the verb to be and infinitive verb with to, which means that you need an adjective. How can you make an adjective for like? Unfortunately, these farmers are unlikely to sell their products. This answer needs a negative prefix for the sentence to make sense. So the answer is unlikely. Next. In part 4, keywords transformation, it has questions that is called the keyword transformation. You will be given a sentence, a keyword in capital letters, and then another sentence. Second sentence will only have at the beginning and the end, and you have to complete it. When you complete the sentence, you need to use between 2 and 5 words, including the keywords that you can change in any way. Next. For example, it is not a word inviting her to the cinema. She will never come. The STEM word here is a point. They're inviting her to the cinema. She will never come. The answer is there is no point in inviting her to the cinema. She will never come. There is no other way to use the word point. There is only one possible answer. Thank you.
Part 5. In this part, we have how to answer reading multiple choice questions. You'll be given a longer text with 6 questions at the end. Each question is multiple choice with 4 possible answers. The question in part 5 often focuses on understanding people's feelings and ideas. So in this part, you can apply the inferring reading skill. That means that you need an overall understanding of the text, its ideas, and how the people mentioned in the text might be feeling. To infer these things, you notice what words, register, grammar, or style the writer has to use to refer something. Remember that inferring refers to something that is not directly said. Next, please. Next. Okay, here we have an example of part 5. So to do this, you're gonna read the text and try to infer what the author says. Then you're gonna read the multiple choice question. After it, reread the text and try to eliminate some of the possible answers. That is, you're gonna eliminate answers that are not mentioned in the text. Like here, I eliminate the letters A and C because there is no information in the text. Finally, look at the text again and find any clues about the correct answer. So the correct answer in this text is the letter T, because in the text, the woman is describing as having glaring eyes and greeting at James before ordering a large coffee. Next, please. Part 6. In part 6, we have how to answer missing sentences questions. In this part, there will be one shortened text with 6 sentences missing. The 6 missing sentences will be given to you in a random order after the text. So the reading sub-skill that we can use in this part is understanding text and distinguish text style, because it allows you recognize if you are looking for the main idea, examples, supporting detail, illustrations. One way in which it is done is by notice the use of the special phrase that give us a necessary clue. Next, please. As you can see here, we have an example of the part 3. So to do this, you're gonna read the text, then the possible answer. To pay attention to words before and after the gap. After it, think about what kind of idea is missing. It is an example, a contrasting idea, an extension, maybe, by looking for any clues that can confirm or eliminate a possible answer. So in this text, the clue word is but. So it means that we're looking for a contrasting idea. So the correct answer here is the letter B.
Okay, now we are going to talk about the part 7, how to answer if CE multiple matching questions. Part 7 is another kind of matching activity. This time you will have 10 questions followed by one long test or several short texts. Each section of the test will have a letter, for example, A to B. You will need to match each question to correct section of the text. Each section can be used more than once. The most important skill here is skimming. What is skimming? Skimming refers to the looking only for the general or main ideas and work best with non-fiction or unfactual material. So you need to be able to read a text quickly and find the most important parts of the information. So let's look the sample questions so you can see what to expect. So first, read the question, read the instruction, that is, this is the instruction, and then in the test you will get 10 questions, but let's look at 2 questions here. Here are the questions that it did, the 2 questions. So now look at 4 extracts for a text. We have shortened them for the video, so they will be longer in the exam, but this will show you what to expect. Now, we are going to analyze the first question. Look at the first question: which person saw a film that contained 2 stories? This is an easy question, as then the text directly mentioned on the friends having 2 stories. Can you see which one? The correct answer is B. Why? The keywords here are parallel story. If there are parallel story, there must be a let's do. However, with other questions, you will need to use inference and understand indirect meaning to find the right answer. Okay, thank you, teacher. It's all.